In this video, you will discover how to divide depth in perspective. It is created by Vladimir London for Life Drawing Academy Correspondence Course students. In this course, students get unlimited personal tutoring and do 100 drawing tasks. One of such tasks is about drawing an Ionic capital. Rose, a correspondence course student, made this drawing in pencil following the task instructions. While making this artwork, she asked the following question.
I'm just trying to add on these final egg and dart decorations, and when I looked at the step-by-step instructions, I was getting a bit confused with how to actually add these on. When I come over to the model, it's in the middle, but there's an equal amount on both sides. I'm going to make my ones get slightly smaller every time, so that way I can have the same amount of them on each side, but they'll still work in perspective because they'll be gradually getting smaller, because I've been trying to do this for the last 2 hours and I was having a bit of trouble with it. But yeah, can you please let me know if this is, a normal, correct way to do it? It seems to be working, but yeah. And also, is there an easier way, or is this a good way to do it?
I like Rose's drawing as well as the paper model, which she made using the task template. There are many more models to be made in this course to learn drawing from life. I will now demonstrate how to divide the depth of foreshortening objects. Let's draw a square in one-point perspective. There is only one vanishing point here. 2 vanishing lines are converging into this point. I divide the undistorted frontal side of this square into 10 equal units. The diagonal line goes from one corner to another. From red points I draw vanishing lines. This diagonal line is crossed by the vanishing lines. I mark the cross points in red. There are 9 of such cross points here. Through every cross point I draw a horizontal line, dividing this square into 10 stripes. You can notice that each division is slightly narrower than the previous one. The number of steps depends on the number of units marked on the frontal edge of this square. This is how to divide depth in a one-point perspective. I will now show you another way of dividing a rectangle in depth in a one-point perspective. 2 diagonals give the center of this rectangle. Through this center it is divided in half. You can notice that the frontal half is bigger than the other one. This follows the rule of perspective that further away objects appear smaller in size. 2 quadrants are also split by diagonals. Through the centers of those diagonals, we can divide this big rectangle into 4 parts. You can see that the depth is perfectly plotted in this way. To divide this rectangle into 8 parts, we can draw one more vanishing line and additional diagonals. Through the cross points of those diagonals goes additional division of depth. This process can be repeated as many times as you like, getting smaller and smaller splits of depth. This method is very old. In the 15th century, the Renaissance artist Piero della Francesca wrote a book called De Prospectiva Pingendi. This is the earliest treatise on perspective in which he illustrated this method so well. Here's another drawing from this book, in which Piero della Francesca explains how this method can be used to draw an octagonal shape in perspective. A square containing this octagon is depicted in a one-point perspective. The diagonal crosses it from one corner to another. The width is easy to determine by using the vanishing lines, while the depth requires division using the helping diagonal line. Piero della Francesca used such rules not only for some flat geometric shapes, but also for 3-dimensional objects such as arches and even a human head in different points of view. Of course, there are better ways of drawing portraits, but it is a great example that knowledge of dividing depth in perspective can help to draw whatever you see or imagine. I will now show you how to divide depth in a two-point perspective. In this type of perspective, there are two vanishing points. For a horizontal rectangle, they will be on the horizon line. In this case, the vanishing points are located beyond the drawing area, but as long as the angles of vanishing lines are correct, this drawing will come out without distortions. All four sides of this rectangle are foreshortened, so we need to use some undistorted line, which is perpendicular to the viewer's line of sight. In this case, it will be a horizontal line plotted from the rectangle's corner. We can now divide this line into as many units as needed. I mark 7 units equal in size to each other. From each red point goes a vanishing line. They all converge into the same vanishing point on the horizon. As previously, we need diagonal lines that cross this rectangle. The next step is to mark the points where the vanishing lines cross those diagonals. To make the job easier, I will mark all the points on 2 diagonal lines, although 1 diagonal would be enough. Using 2 red points for each line, we can now divide the depth of this rectangle into 7 equal parts in perspective. I hope this demonstration is easy to follow even though it is not 1, but 2-point perspective. I will now make one more drawing in a 2-point perspective to demonstrate another method of dividing the depth. Here is the rectangle with foreshortened sides. 2 diagonals of this rectangle cross in its center. Through this center, we can draw 2 vanishing lines. These lines divide this rectangle into 4 quadrants. 2 of such quadrants can be split with 2 diagonal lines. They give us the points which divide the rectangle into 4 parts. To get even more parts, we can add a few more diagonals. This way, the depth of this rectangle can be divided into 8 parts. I will now make a more meaningful sketch to illustrate how to use depth in perspective. While I'm drawing, I will tell a few words about the Life Drawing Academy course. We actually guarantee that by the end of this course, each student will reach the advanced level of drawing abilities, regardless of inborn talents and prior drawing skills. This is because each student gets unlimited personal tutoring, and such tutoring goes according to a specially designed curriculum, which is tailored to every student's level of skills. So this course is suited for absolute beginners as well as for advanced artists. Each student receives personal tutoring according to the missing gaps in art education. Also, a personalized drawing curriculum takes into account what each student wants to learn. If someone is interested in drawing portraits or doing character design, this course will teach how to do it on the professional level. Of course, all the basic skills will be covered first. If you do not know all 21 rules of perspective or 15 elements of composition, how to use golden proportions or measure relative proportions, how to render tonal values, how to use constructive drawing principles and so on, you will be taught such basic things to get prepared for the more advanced topics, such as anatomy for artists, portrait and figure drawing, depicting emotions in portraits, making figurative compositions, creating works of art that evoke emotions and tell a story. Before you get your personal curriculum, Academy tutors will test your current level of skills, so your assignments will cover all the drawing topics you need to learn. There are 100 drawing tasks in this course. Rose completed only 14 tasks so far, but she is already capable of making very complicated constructive drawings, like these Doric and Ionic capitals, and this is just the beginning. Rose still has 86 drawing assignments to do. Imagine how good her skills will be when she completes this course. And the best part is, there is no way to fail. As long as you follow your curriculum and our guidance step by step, you will become a proficient fine artist. All assignments go from basic to more advanced topics gradually. Every task will prepare you for the next one. Tasks come with in-depth explanations that are easy to follow. You will know what and how to do for every step of this journey. Every task report is checked by the Academy tutors, and advice is given what you need to improve and how to fix mistakes. Your every question will be answered, and, if needed, we can make special videos for you, like this one. Such video tutorials come in addition to video lessons that you can watch at any time because your membership will be for a lifetime. I have completed this drawing to show you how dividing the depth in perspective could be used for depicting some three-dimensional objects, like these rectangular prisms. Of course, instead of prisms, you can draw whatever you like. For example, we can examine how Leonardo da Vinci did a similar task for his preparatory drawing for the Adoration of the Magi in 1481. This scenery has two staircases. I will mark them as A and B. They look proportional and equal in size, but there is more to this drawing than just simple rules of perspective. Let's see how one-point perspective is used here. Vanishing lines converge into a single point on the horizon. I will tint the rectangle in front of the staircases in white color, so it would be easier to see the geometry and how the great master divided the depth in this picture. The width of each staircase is marked with horizontal lines. The diagonal line spans from one corner to another. It crosses the horizontal lines in 2 points. I mark them in red. Through these points, we can draw 2 vanishing lines that converge into the vanishing point. The undistorted dimensions corresponding to each staircase are outlined in red lines. I will label them as A and B the same way as before. You can see that the dimension A is almost 3 times smaller than B, which means that the actual width of the first staircase is smaller than the second one. I have no doubts that Leonardo da Vinci knew very well how to divide depth in perspective, but he also knew that such rules can be adjusted for creative purposes. To make this drawing better, he decided to increase the depth of the second staircase so it would appear more natural to a viewer. To show you why following the perspective rules to the point is not always the best approach, I will make 2 drawings with 2 different kinds of architectural arches, round and flat. Let's begin with round arches. While I'm drawing, I will continue a short story about the Life Drawing Academy correspondence course. The history of arts did not know a single case of a great fine artist who was totally self-taught. I'm not talking about contemporary art where anything goes and education is optional, but the masters of the Renaissance and Baroque periods when skills of trade meant something. Fine art is a part of human culture, and culture is passed from one generation to another by teachers giving the necessary skills and knowledge to their students. In drawing, there is one thing you could not do without the help of professional tutors: seeing your mistakes. I have heard it so many times from amateur artists. I feel that something is not right with my drawing, but I can't put a finger on what needs to be fixed. You might have the same feeling when you do a portrait, but it doesn't look good or you rendered tonal values, but the drawing still lacks depth and perspective. This is when you need professional help, because making the same mistakes over and over again will make you perfect at repeating the wrong way of drawing. You need an art tutor who will check your every artwork, point out all mistakes and advise how to fix them. This is what you will get in the Life Drawing Academy correspondence course, a dedicated art tutor who will guide you all the way until you reach the advanced level of drawing skills. A tutor who won't tell you, "good job," regardless of your performance, but actually give you the truth about your skills and mistakes, because without working on your weak areas, you would never grow as an artist. Here's a drawing with 3 round arches. Although it perfectly follows the 2-point perspective rules, you may feel that something is not quite right with this drawing. The last arch looks a bit narrow, even though its depth is calculated with precision. Let's make one more drawing with flat arches to see if this would be the case in the next picture. I will draw it in 2-point perspective and use another method of dividing depth into 4 equal size arches. To conclude the story about the Life Drawing Academy correspondence course, I will explain why you cannot fail in reaching the advanced level of drawing skills should you complete this course. This is because you will get unlimited drawing education, which is based not on some set period of time, but your actual performance. The Academy tutors will work with you on the one-to-one basis until you complete each of 100 tasks with the required quality. Every assignment will give you certain skills and prepare you for the next task. Your curriculum will take you from basic to advanced topics gradually, step by step, without jumping over any skills or know-how. This way, your drawing abilities will advance gradually from level to level. If you are not sure what different levels of drawing skills are about, check out the video called How to Self-Assess Your Level of Drawing Skills. As long as you put work into this course, you are destined to reach the advanced level. The Academy tutors will stay with you until you achieve this goal. This course comes for a one-time fee for unlimited tutoring. To see what this course is about, check out lifedrawing.academy/correspondence-course. Here's one more drawing that perfectly divides the depth according to the perspective rules. However, you can see once again that the first 2 arches appear much bigger than the last 2. Although this drawing is geometrically correct, it can be adjusted to look more natural. Let's see how Leonardo da Vinci handled this challenge. In this drawing, there are 3 round arches placed next to each other. I will draw several lines in perspective to show their geometry. The vanishing lines are converging into the point on the horizon. This whole composition is done in 1-point perspective. I will wash the rectangle with arches in white color so we could see more clearly what is happening there. The vertical lines outline the arches and columns between them. The diagonal line will be used to find the depth of each arch. The dimensions marked in red indicate the width of each arch in proportion to each other. I will mark 3 arches as A, B, and C. Relative proportions in red lines will be labeled in the same manner, A, B, and C respectively. You can see that the vertical dimension A is smaller than B, and B is smaller than C. These arches are not equal in size to each other. In real life, the first arch is the narrowest and the last one is the widest. However, in drawing, they don't look that way. This is how Leonardo da Vinci bent the rules of perspective to achieve more natural depth in this picture. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and interesting. If you enjoyed this video, give your like and subscribe to this channel so as not to miss the next video on constructive drawing. To find out what Life Drawing Academy is about, check out its free video lessons at lifedrawing.academy/free.